Table that I'm building there is painted now. Got the top here, fixing to stain it using this Minwax pre-stain oil base because it's going to be stained in early American oil base stain, and then I'm going to top it off with Minwax polyurethane oil based. So first thing I'm going to do is it's all sanded, it's ready to put the pre-stain on it. I got the rounded over, and I'm going to start pre-staining it first and show you how that goes. What I like to do is take my flathead screwdriver, got a hammer somewhere. Take my flathead screwdriver and just tap around the lip a little bit. So I knock a little hole in it, so the stain can drain through there. Same thing with paint. Do the same thing with paint. Take my little homemade stir stick. It's actual scrap wood. It's out pretty good. I mean, they fill these things up to the tip top, so it's kind of easy to spill over the edge if you ain't careful. I think I got that stirred up pretty good. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some rags, which I always have people that give me old T-shirts. I can cut them up. It comes in very handy for rags. Just gonna wipe with the grain. Give this thing a good coating. It'll take a lot of pre-stain to get it on there, but this helps bring out the grain in the wood. Also keeps the stain from blotching. I've been doing this a long time. Started doing the staining back when I was in college. I worked at a little furniture store in Augusta, and what they did was they built the furniture in the back of the store, and I was the one that did all the staining, like china cabinets, dining room tables, and all kind of stuff like that. So we've been doing. Of course, I didn't do it ever since I was in college, but that's where I learned how to do this. The same technique as it's been for years and years. But anyway, I'm gonna wipe this whole thing down with this, get the grain good and soaked, and I'll let it dry for about 15 minutes and come back over with the early American stain. Alright, got the pre-stain on. I did stain the bottom of this tabletop. I didn't pre-stain it because it's the bottom, everybody sees it, but I like to have it stained anyway. Not necessarily pre-stain, doesn't really matter. But got my rags here, so got my early American Minwax oil base stain. I'll just take it and go with the grain along the wood. Comes out pretty good. Pre-stain dry for about 15 minutes. Of course, I've got my rubber gloves on that's been used a lot doing this because the stain is very hard to get off your fingers when you get it on there. Because the end pieces are kind of a pain in the butt, but when you stain them, because they got that grain in them where it's been cut, you have to make sure it soaks down to the pores really good. So soak it just a little bit more than normal on the table, and I quickly get the dry rag because the ends, because of the grain, the ends are going to look a little darker because it's soaked into that grain compared to the flat wood on top. But I'll go over this whole table with the stain, wipe it with the dry rag, get the excessive stain off. Try to get the corners really good on the sides right there where it's rounded over. Usually use because Jacobean is a dark brown stain, a darker brown stain. It's probably the most popular stain I use back here. A lot of people like the Jacobean, but I'll let this dry tomorrow night. I'll probably put a second coat over it, make it just a little bit darker. All right, then get my dry rag, which actually landed in the stain. Get back over it and dry off the excess. Sometimes this stuff dries quicker than normal, depends on the humidity back here. So now I get the edges all around there, and then like I said, tomorrow night I'll come back in here and put a second coat on it, and then when I get through with that, I'll put several coats of this on there. This puts the shine on it, and the protective coat, polyurethane oil base. So that's pretty much the gist of the staining. But after I do the several coats of this, I do go back over it with a 120 grit sandpaper to sort of knock off the dust that this stuff raises out of the wood and the roughness. Then I'll put another final coat over it before I finally attach the tabletop to the frame.